number 10. Question number 10 is there. And there will be 10 gaps. And these 10 gaps will be fulfilled by the students, and you will be checked and measured from these gaps. Yes, let's go through this question. This is one of the sample example model question, and one of my friends is, where, was. In the previous question you won't get any options. There will be no any option. You cannot choose any option. But in question number 10 you will be given so many options. One of my friends is, where, was, walking through a forest. Here is, where, was. Here you have to find out which word agrees to the subject. The subject is one of my friends. Generally students may get confused by my friends. Singular subject comes with B5 form or singular subject, and plural subject come with B1 form or plural verb, plural form of verb. Here one of my friend, you have to little focus here. One of my friends. The words are is, where, was. Here while reading the passage you will get present form, and these two are past form. In the beginning you should be clear which form to use. Generally passages are given in past form, but don't be confident that all of the passages are given in past form. That's not. Sometimes present form are also used to define some kind of information, to provide, to give some scientific facts and cause and effect, and so many other things are there when we use present tense. But generally most of the time we see that passages are given in past form. So here to be confident, to be sure, to assure whether present tense is to be written or past tense is to be chosen, you go through other sentences there in the passage, like he could not decide, a tall tree, there was a tall tree, he thought, in the meantime a man appeared. So these words, these verbs prove that the passage is in past form. That's why we must focus on the past. When we focus on the past, is not appropriate. Now which one comes here as appropriate word? Where or was. These verb, this state of walking through means these are auxiliary verb. So these auxiliary verb have to agree with the subject that they follow. Here one of my friends, this is a little confusing one because in the beginning there is one and at the end there is friends. Now which one do you think it is? Whether, was or where. So in this case of when of comes here, we must think about the first subject. So this one we have to write, we have to choose the auxiliary verb according to the word that comes prior to of. Here one has come prior to of, not my friends, not previous to of. One is there, not my friends. That's why we must focus on one. One means it is singular form, singular subject. That's why we must find the singular verb, that is was, not were. So don't be confused. There is friends, it is plural form. So try to understand student. I'd like to focus once to it, because generally students get confusion and they choose the wrong answer because one is before of. If had there been two or plural form, then there would be where. So one of my friends was walking through a forest. Suddenly he has seen, saw a tiger. Now here, suddenly he had seen. So here, suddenly, after suddenly, he, the activity is given had seen or has seen or saw. Once again, we have to know the time, what time, what kind of activity it is discussed here. Suddenly he saw means it is sequential part. He was walking through a forest, and sequential, it goes in a sequential part. When the activity or action goes in sequential part, we must use verb to. For perfect tense, the activity, the action should be completed. Here, the seen activity is not completed. Suddenly joins to the, suddenly denotes to the sequential activity of this friend. That's why we must use past form. So here we should use saw. Suddenly he saw a tiger. Above, about, in front of him. Yes, here preposition. So for the preposition, we have to find out the context. Sometimes, generally, prepositions are used in a contextual way. So tiger, above him or about him or in front of him. While a person goes ahead, certainly, obviously, the person sees something in front of him. That's why we must use in front of him. So a tiger comes in front of him. Saw, next one is in front of him. He could not decide what to do. Now, there is no any gap. There was a in the tall tree beside him. So, tall tree is here. This tall tree is, while using preposition, we have to think about some sound. Whether that is consonant sound or vowel sound, or let's say the noun is already defined. There are various topics, various reasons why we use a and the. Today I'm not going thoroughly to this. In the days ahead, we'll go on each and every topic. I have already told you. There we'll talk about the use of a and the. Here, just I'd like to make a slight synopsis here that a is used before consonant sound, n is used before vowel sound. Generally, the is used before the defined nouns. Here, we do not know which tall tree. We do not know the tall tree is defined there. So it is a new tall tree. It is a new word for us. So for new word, we must use either a or n. Now we have to focus on a or n, or n. Tall, this ta, it starts, the initial sound is consonant sound. Tall tree. That's why we must use a here, not n. A tall tree beside him. He thought if he climbed the tree, yes, here, though there is no gap, I'd like to give a little clue about why the is used to define tree. A tall tree is already defined. A tall tree has already come before. Now the same tree is talked here. The person is talking about the same tall tree. That's why the is used, because the tree now here is known, that tall tree. He will be, would save his life. He thought if he climbed the tree, he will be, would save his life. Here, if clause is here. conditional sentence. If clause, if he climbed the tree. Here, in this, if he climbed the tree. Here, the structure is B2. If he climbed, when B2 is there in if clause, we must use would, should, could, might plus B1. Would, should, could, might plus B1. So we must use will be, would is there. So we have to use he would save his life. So would is written here. I hope students have understood why would is chosen here. Trickily, we can use a little trick too here, because as I have already told you that the whole passage is going on in past form, and the option with would is will be. However, this is not a good logic. Anyway, it is a trick to the students. If he climbed, this is B2, and when B2 comes, we must choose either would, should, could, might plus B1. B1 is here. He would save his life. Next is, in the meantime, a man appeared. He told my friend to not to, don't be afraid. So here, once again, imperative sentence has come. If for imperative sentence, to or not to is used. If you are using positive sentence, you must use to as the conjunction. If you are telling negative activity to do, to perform, then you have to use not to. So here, the friend is already getting afraid. So the friend does not need to tell him to get afraid. So by the sense itself, we are clear. Obviously, his friend told him not to be afraid. So we have to use not to afraid here. And if you write don't must be written in direct speech, not in indirect speech. Here, this is not direct speech. Yes, one more thing, students. Sometimes you will be getting confused because the questions give inverted commas too. You have to find out whether inverted commas are written or not. If the question includes inverted commas, you must be clear you have to write in direct speech. But here is no inverted comma. We must be sure that we have to write indirect speech. That's why I ignore don't and not to is written. My friend, he told my friend not to be afraid. He made my friend to feel. Yes, causative verb made my friend. When in causative form, make plus agent comes, we must use B1 form. If get plus agent comes, to B1. Make plus agent comes, B1. Have plus agent comes, B1. And other thing later on. My friend, he made my friend. Make, he made my friend, ... Here, subject is he. Made, it is causative verb. And my friend, it is plus it is agent. So when we use make with agent, so it is make, it is B second means past form of make. That's why it is make. Make comes there, agent plus B1. So we have to write he made my friend feel. Only feel. Feel secured. My friend which was afraid of the tiger. Now my friend is the person, and in person when we are using conjunctions, there are three conditions for using conjunctions for the person. that is subjective case, objective case, and possessive case. If the sentence is, if the noun is in subjective case, we use who. If the noun is in objective case, we use whom. And if the noun is in possessive case, we must use whose. Here, my friend is in subjective case. That's why we must use who, not whom, not which. Who was afraid of the tiger is saved, has saved, is saved, has saved, was saved by another man. So here, is saved, I think students know it. It is present form. Present form is not used here. Has saved, this is also present form, trickily. So we can use this trick. And was saved, but this is not the good logic why was saved is used, because is saved and has saved are present form and the passage is not dealing with present form. This is also to some extent partly some kind of logic, but here we have to think about passive voice, because the friend was saved by another man. Here the friend is object that has come in the beginning of the sentence, and activity is done upon him. The friend is, my friend is not saving, but my friend is saved. That's why it comes as passive voice. So passive voice, as I have already told, be plus be third, and here past form is was saved. So my friend who was afraid of the tiger was saved by another man. In this way, my friend was saved. My has been missing there. In this way, my friend was saved. Question tag, did he, wasn't he, didn't he? What do you think, students? What should be written there? Was auxiliary verb is there, and when auxiliary verb comes in a sentence, we don't need to think anything, and directly we can use the auxiliary verb in question tag. So we can say wasn't he, and it is positive sentence, we have to use negative tag. So wasn't he should be written. So in this way, this is the overall case how we deal with question number 9 and question number 10. So this is the format, and let's say what to say. This is I hope the students have seen, almost known about the pattern of the question, how the questions comes and how they have to, sometimes they have to use their tricks and logics there. And so after this, I'd like to focus on some specific part, that is causative verb. I'm going to help you, facilitate you with causative verbs. Generally in this class 10, the students of SEE have to deal with 3 causative verbs. However, there are so many other causative verbs as well, but here we are focusing on make, have and get, because from exam oriented point of view, we have to focus on these 3: make, have and get. Make, have and get are causative verbs. At first we have to know the word, the meaning of word causative verb. Causative especially. Causative means making somebody else to do some work, causing some other person to work. That is causative. And in these causative verbs, the structures, there are 3 structures. Generally, students have to focus on 3 structures. Those 3 structures are subject. The first one is subject plus make, have plus agent plus V1. subject plus make have plus agent plus B1 plus ... whatever come after that. So here after make and have, if agent comes, we have to find out agent or object. In case of make, there we do not need to think about the object, because object does not come with make here in causative verb. And have, with have and get, object also come. So we have to know after make and have, agent comes. When agent comes, we have to use B1 form. And when get comes, agent plus 2B1. When agent comes with get, we have to use 2B1. And third one is subject plus have get plus object plus B3. We have to know object or agent. Here we have to understand, we have to find out whether it is agent or object. So how we can distinguish each other is, agent is the doer of the action. When action is done, whether the word that has come right after make, have and get, if it is the doer, we have to understand it is an agent. If it is an object, then we have to, if the action is done upon this noun, then it is an object, we have to find out. And finally, once again, I'd like to tell you that I have written here make, have and get. But students have to learn, students have to know that this make, have and get do not confined only in these forms. Make, have and get. They have various forms like ismr plus B4, B5, has a plus B3rd, had plus B3rd, was were plus B4, shall will have plus B3rd. So all these forms of this word come under these words. So in this way, causative verbs are used. So there are some other examples as well. In coming days, I will be doing with other examples with other topics. So I'd like to end my class here. And finally, I'd like to thank Waling municipality, which is assisting all the SE students for their preparation of their examination. And it is the great matter of privilege to all those students. Finally, I'd like to say Happy New Year 2077. May this new year flourish every kind of color, every kind of fragrance in the life of every people. Stay home, stay healthy. Thank you very much. Namaskar.